Hello. Hi, ladies. Happy, what is this? Monday night. Yeah. I don't know about you, but the week has already started and it already feels like it should be Friday. That's how it feels for me anyway. But tonight is the second installment of our Real Talk series and conversation. I'm actually back in my house now in Smithfield, and it feels really good to be home. But tomorrow I leave for Los Angeles, where I'm going to be for almost a month. So it's a little chaotic, a little hectic over here in the Geist house as I get prepared to go, but I wouldn't rather be anywhere else than here with all of you. So as we wait for folks to join, oh, hi, oh, look at all the hearts. Who is that? Is that Melina? Melina? Is that you, Melina? Was that you hearting away? So thank you so much. So as you guys are signing on and we're getting warmed up here, sorry, I just had one of those situations where I started getting like a frog in my throat a few minutes ago and I started coughing a lot. But as we're getting warmed up for our conversation tonight about money, yeah, money, money, money. This isn't going to be triggering at all, right? No, I'm sure not. So as we get warmed up for our conversation tonight about money, as you start joining in, I would love it if you were to type, just say hi, let me know that you're here. I love to see the engagement along the way with all of the hearts and the thumbs up and apparently the flowers that now I know exist as well too. Just to say hello and let us know that you're in the space and so that we can see you and appreciate you for showing up. And if you feel comfortable too, let us know where you're coming in from. I think it's so beautiful that we've got such a global community already. Last night we had someone coming in from Australia. We had people joining from Germany, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. It was all over the board. So let us know where you are so we can get a better sense of who's in the tribe and where we are all globally distributed. So as I see more people are joining. Hi guys, if you're coming in now, feel free to let us know you're here. Say hello, what's up, good evening or good morning if you're coming in from a faraway place. Tonight is going to be a conversation, our second conversation on money. Last night, for those of you who didn't get to join last night, or maybe for those of you who are also there, but last night was a really powerful conversation. To be honest, I wasn't expecting us to talk for almost an entire hour, but we did. And it was really enriching and really fascinating and powerful to hear about all the different fears that we had in our lives and in ourselves that were showing up in our business. And tonight, this session is all about money. And a lot of us talked about the fear of money last night. So now we're going to get to have a deeper conversation around money. So I see more and more people are starting to join. Fiorella, you're back again. Hi, sister. Hi. Oh, yay. I'm so happy that you're here again. And so for those of you who missed it, I just want to recap again really quickly what this whole series is about and why we're doing this. So as you know, here, the Worthy Woman Tribe, we're all about getting real about the inside world around entrepreneurship, the stuff that is happening in our head, our heart, and in our spirit, the things that we tend to want to hide around, the things that we may want to bury and try to figure out ourselves. But what I've learned from several years of being an entrepreneur now and serving women entrepreneurs is that we're all having the same experience. So if we can actually come out in the open and talk about it together, then we don't have the same pressure to feel like we're alone and that we have to white knuckle our way through the experience of creation. So this series has 3 parts. The first part was last night on fear and exploring what fears we're holding on to in our head and our heart and our bodies as well around building our business. And tonight, which is the second night, is all about money. And I'm sure nobody here has any issues with money, right? Heart, give me a heart if you've got something that comes up for you about money. If you're already watching, give me some hearts or thumbs or flowers that just show me if you're also dealing with some stuff around money, because I know I have money stuff that I've worked through. And I'm going to tell you a story in a minute after we give it like another minute or so. Yeah, I'm seeing lots of hearts and angry faces too. Yeah, we got to change that angry face. We're going to change that angry face to a happy face. That's what we want, right? But right now, I understand if you have an angry face about money. because money has given me an angry face in the past too. It's given me more of like a face more than like an angry face. It's been more of like a fuck face than an angry face. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all the faces that money gives us, that gives us the happy face, that gives us the what the fuck face, that gives us the like, holy crap, how am I going to do this face? Or where did that go? I thought I just had $1,000. Where did that $1,000 just go? We're going to talk tonight about the shame and the guilt that we carry around money. And this is also going to be a space for us to get real and honest about what we're actually experiencing financially in our lives, because I find that money is one of the places that we tend to hide around the most. So if you're just joining now, this is a casual affair. Bring your tea. I have my tea here. This is my Dessert Delights tea. It's cinnamon French vanilla macaroon. Yeah, that's serious. It sounds good, doesn't it? Because it is. And if you've got your glass of wine, bring that along too. So I thought I'd open up this conversation with a story about my experience around money. And hopefully that will, I don't know, show you guys that it's cool to be vulnerable here. And I've mentioned this before. And if you guys are on my email list as well, you might have read around this story over the past few days. But I have been broke twice in my business since I started my business. Two times with zero or negative balance. Anybody else here ever gone broke? I mean, literally like no money in the bank account. If you have, give me a heart or chat. By the way, this is super interactive. So I'm going to be asking you to heart and chat and do all the things. So put your comments, your questions, your ahas, your freakouts, whatever it is that's coming up. Put it in the comments, and then, of course, like give me the thumbs and the flowers. But if you're here and you're watching now, if you have ever gone broke, give me a thumbs up, or come close to it. Give me a thumbs up, give me a flower, and let us know that you're in that place. If you haven't, that's cool. Hopefully that never happens to you. But I have gone broke twice in my business, and I've gotten out of it twice. And it was the most terrifying experience that I ever had. It produced a lot of deep shame. And the irony in it is that what got me to that place was actually the fears that we talked about yesterday, the fear of not wanting to be seen, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being enough, the fear of not doing it right or being judged. All of those fears of not making the right decisions, they kept me from taking action. And as a result, I ended up going broke. And not only did I go broke, but we moved to California from New York City. And when I first started my business, I had a really great experience. I came right out of working a corporate job, and I got a big client, and then another big client, and a bunch of coaching clients, because I was consulting and coaching at the time. And I made over $130,000 in less than 10 months. And so I was like, this entrepreneurship thing is easy. Yeah, right. Well, next thing you know, we moved to California, and I start having a identity crisis, basically. Questioning everything that I was doing in my business, second guessing every decision. And I went into some deep anxiety and depression. And as that happened, fortunately we had a safety net, but we watched as that net got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, while our bills to live in LA got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And the next thing I knew, we had started accumulating a ton of credit card debt, like a massive amount. And at the same time, we're living this lifestyle that we were feeling like we were trying to keep up with. Has anybody else had that experience? If you feel like your lifestyle and like the life you've created, you're just trying to keep up with it, trying to maintain it, and it's outrunning you. That's how it felt for us. Well, it ended up causing us to nearly go broke. And then we got out of it. When I hit that rock bottom, I was like, I'm not allowing this to happen. I'm going to make all this money back. And I did. And I generated almost $70,000 in around 9 or 10 weeks. And then I again felt like, oh, I'm safe and I did this, so I'm good. And I started questioning myself again, because I had the space to begin to explore what I wanted to do next in the business. And that made me again go into cycles of self-doubt and anxiety and depression. And next thing you know, I'm going broke in the streets of Salamanca in Spain, which was just this past June. literally standing in the streets of Spain, having a panic attack because our account had just been overdrawn by $700 and our credit cards were maxed out. And I'm in this foreign country and I felt like I had failed and I was so deeply ashamed and that I had been living this fake life. And fortunately, we're there with my brother-in-law, and he was able to help bail us out. And then my Ryan and I had some extra cash that we didn't know about that we were able to get. We were able to come back to the States and kind of regroup, to be honest. And it was a really difficult time for me. I didn't want to come back. I had all of these beliefs. I was like, no, I can just stay and we'll go to Croatia where it's cheap and figure it out there, which was not the right decision. My husband, Ryan, was very, very smart and saying, no, we got to come back. So, yes, bankrupt at 18 lots, bankrupt at 18, Spirella. Oh, wow. That is amazing. I would love to hear more about that story. If you wouldn't mind sharing more around that in the chat, I think other people will really benefit from hearing how you moved through that experience and what that was like for you. So anyway, came back and really put our heads on straight. And now we're in a position where we've made, I think since July, we're moving up to almost 6 figures. And the thing that I'm dealing with money for me right now is the fear that I'll go back, right? Like the fear of returning back to that old pattern, returning back to that place of scarcity and not and that shortage consciousness that we talked about last night, that fear that I will do something wrong and the money will leave again. So that's been some of my recent experience with money. And I also want to share openly and honestly about even things like credit card debt. We amassed over $60,000 in credit card debt over 3.5 years of building our business, which I went from having zero debt in my life to having that on top of an $80,000 student loan for my master's degree. Thanks, Northwestern. Love ya. Changed my life. And also you were really, really expensive. So all of this debt was really weighing on us and it was dragging us down. And it was really easy. I don't know if is anybody here carrying credit card debt? Give me a heart, give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you're carrying any kind of credit card debt. Because carrying that debt feels like such an incredible burden. At least it did for me. It felt like no matter what I generated, I would never be able to get myself out of it. But now, since we've generated all of this cash, currently over 60,000 right now, debt-free in 2014. Okay, or 80, yeah, see, okay. Thank you, Fiorella, for being so fucking honest about that. Like, thanks for being real. Because we hide so much about this stuff, and it doesn't do us any good to hide in the shame of this money stuff. It doesn't allow us to clear. We can't support each other, and we can't own it and move through it. So now we're fortunate enough because of this getting right with ourselves, doing this deep inner work that Ryan and I have been doing over the past couple of months, and him connecting to his purpose and me really connecting into my purpose and the Worth to Wealth and the Worthy Woman platform and what I'm building here has created a lot of abundance for us. And we've been able to pay down almost, I think we're almost at like $30,000 or $35,000 in credit card debt in the past couple months. So if you're trying to pay down credit card debt, it is possible. And Fiorella will tell you that it's also possible because she's done it. Isn't that right, Fiorella? Sometimes we don't know how the bills will all get paid. Yeah, Mav has a really powerful story around her experience moving through having a shortage of cash as well. So I'd love to know from you. That's my story about money. I just laid it all out for you. Ooh, I even feel my face is kind of hot after talking about it. It even feels uncomfortable just like expressing it. You know, I noticed like a fear as I was talking about the debt, especially. I was noticing a fear. I was like, oh, will people judge me because I have debt and because I went into debt? Will they think that that means that I don't know how to run a business? Will they think that that means that I'm not an aligned person? I was just thinking that. It was kind of coming forward for me. It made my face real hot. And that's the heat of shame. You know, there's so much shame that we carry around money, whether it's the shame that we feel for not being able to create it, the shame that we feel for not being able to hold on to it, or the shame that we feel for having a lot of it and not really feeling content and owning that we're happy with our financial situation. So there's a lot of that. So I'm just kind of noticing that my face is kind of hot because this money conversation makes me really uncomfortable. Okay. So I want to know from you, what are your beliefs about money? What are your beliefs about money? So if I were to ask you to finish the sentence, money is ... how would you finish that sentence? Money is ... And I'd like you to put that in the chat now so that we can get a sense for what we collectively as a community are holding in our consciousness around money. I would love to see and to get a sense for, are we all in a state and belief that money is evil? Are we in a state of belief that money is hard to make? Do we believe that money will hurt people? What do we believe about money? What do you believe about money? If you can now put that in the chat, just chat on the side, money is ... I even think it's interesting right now that it's 8:20 and we have a lot less people showing up tonight. Maybe it's because it's a Monday night. That's probably what it is. I'm going to guess that's what it is, but I'm also curious if it's kind of triggering and people don't want to talk about it. But money is ... Aaron says essential is the first thing that comes to mind. Money is essential. That's interesting. Okay. Mav says, I remember going through secret panics when people would invite us out because I didn't want to spend the money. Oh yeah, girl. I've been there, done that. That belief that there's never enough money, that's a belief. There's never enough money. There's not enough money. And that there's not enough money for me. Fiorella says, I really went to Italy for a year thinking that I would invest in the Marissa Peer training and would start making all this money. Instead, I got further into debt. Money is freedom to live this amazing life and have done over 3,000 GBT is money on money issues. Yeah. Money is incredible. Money is necessary. Amy. Hi, Amy. Money is incredible. That's a really powerful and strong, abundant mindset that you have. I love that. And by the way, it's not just about, tonight isn't just about money problems. It's also about abundance. So if you're here carrying an abundance mindset too, please send that vibration out into our tribe for any of those people who need it. Like Fiorella, if you're feeling that scarcity mindset, you've got Amy here. She is on the vibe. She's on the tip. So Amy, send that positive energy of that abundance mindset out to you. I want to know, how did you get to that belief, Amy, that money is incredible? And Matt, how did you get to that belief that money is necessary? Which sounds a lot like what Aaron has to say, that money is essential. A lot of times what I see with my clients, especially when I do RTT sessions, and any of the other, anybody else in here who's an RTT practitioner may also have seen something like this, but a lot of times what I see with my clients is that there's a belief that money is not available to me. And it comes from an experience in childhood where there was poverty, or where money was allocated to other things, or whether a person, a family member, a community member made them believe, or was told them even outright, that money is only available to some people and not to others. And it's not available to people like you or me. And so they grow up holding on to that belief. So that's another one that I see. Money is necessary. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Amy. You're a rock star. So in entrepreneurship, what I see a lot of times is women coming out to build a business and then feeling they move into inaction because of the fear, and then there's a lot of pressure. So money creates pressure is another story that I hear. And money stories are really powerful and framing the way that we take action. And if we have a money fear or a money scarcity mindset, then it typically ends up manifesting in acts of desperation. Anybody experience that? Give me flowers and hearts and all the things if you can resonate with an act of desperation because you needed more money. Whether that means running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying a billion different things, whatever it might be for you. If you ever experienced an act of desperation to get money, Amy says, I'm finally in my purpose and the clients are just coming because I'm in my purpose and I did a lot of work on money blocks. Yeah, Amy, that's so great. I see the hearts here. Yeah, thanks, ladies. So people have done some acts of desperation. I am also in flow with my purpose right now, and I'm feeling very, very abundant. But I also noticed that I'm curious to see, Amy, if do you ever feel that tug of like, what if it changes or like, what if it goes away? I don't know if you do, but sometimes I feel that way. Um, Lots of hearts and lots of hearts and smiles. Thanks, guys. Yeah, so money for me has been, as a kid, I grew up with like tons of money, and my dad was really abundant. He was a doctor, and um, he provided for us really well. But then, and when I grew up and I graduated college, I had corporate clients that provided for me. And now, as a entrepreneur, I had to learn that I was worthy of all of the wealth that I wanted. And that brought up a lot of stuff that I wasn't ready for. I really wasn't. When it's coming from within you, when the money is about your direct creations, it feels different. It really feels different. You are worth, Ryan says. That's my husband. Look, my husband's on again, guys. Isn't he so cool? He's so cool. I miss you, Ryan. Yeah, so when we have these blocks around monies and these stories around money as entrepreneurs, it can cause us to act in ways that don't align with us. Um, and I see that show up a lot of times in sales conversations too, where we maybe get pushy or we start to take on clients that we don't really like or that aren't really aligned to our resonance. They're not really in the same vibration or the same resonance as us, and we can maybe sense it, but we ignore red flags and signs like that because we're desperate for the money. I know this summer when we were in that place, I picked up a couple of clients who I really hacked my rate, which I chose to do at the time because I needed the cash. But the relationships really fell flat. The clients didn't show up for calls. They didn't schedule. I was chasing them around. They weren't paying on time. And so it actually just gave me more anxiety and more trouble. So I made that act of desperation around money, and it kind of bit me in the ass in the end. So that kind of leads me to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is what our experiences have been like with money flow in and out of our businesses and in our lives. So I feel like and I have a video that I'm going to share about this too, but I feel like there's a myth about money and the way that it comes in to our lives. I feel like in entrepreneurship, we've been sold this story that money goes like this, doot, 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 and it's like a line that goes like that. And that every month you should be seeing an increase and then another increase and another increase, and it just goes like that forever. And nobody ever talks about the ebb and the flow of that. And even if you watch any of those webinars from the digital marketing guys are like, here's my bank account so you can see how much money I've made. And it shows like a chart over the past 4 or 5 months, and it's like more and more and more and more and more and more. And you're like, well, shit, I guess that's how it's supposed to work, right? Like, that's what everybody else is doing, and that's the story that I'm being told about money and entrepreneurship. And if I'm doing it right, and if I'm making the right decisions in my business, then I should only see an increase, and I should never see any kind of decrease. But that's not true. I mean, when I worked at Coca-Cola, when I was a consultant, I worked with companies like Coca-Cola and Kraft and Mondelez and Anheuser-Busch. Those massive, massive organizations. I was in employee engagement and communications at that time, and I was working with executives on how to communicate stuff inside the company to their employees and engage them around it. And there were several times where I was involved in backroom conversations with senior executives at these organizations where they were like, we're not making our profits and we're going to have to do layoffs, and we're just losing, we're hemorrhaging cash. So if a big global, multinational, Fortune 100 company has an experience of money coming and then leaving, why do we expect something different? That's what I don't understand. That's what I used to believe. Like, I expected it to just go like this, but that's not how it works. Money actually is different. Fearless says, I found it difficult charging friends for sessions. Oh, I can I have a thing for you on that, Farrell. So I'll come back to that in a second. Yeah, Mav says she said yes to clients out of desperation. For sure. Me too, sister. Like, a few times. And every single time I said to a client out of desperation for money, it never worked out. It never worked out. They ended up quitting, or I ended up having to fire them, or they just like kind of disappeared and never paid their bills. That's happened every single time I've tried to work with the client out of that desperation around money. Anyway, so where was I? This myth that we have about money is that it only goes like this, but that's just not true. Money is actually kind of like the ocean. That's how I see it. Money flows in, and then it recedes out. And then it flows in, and it recedes out. It's a constant process of ebb and flow. And what I feel in myself is that the problem isn't the releasing of the money, because you think about it, the money comes into your life and you're in a ton of abundance. And then maybe you spend the money on something that you've chosen, like RTT. Or maybe something unexpected, an external influence comes up and you pay for it. And a chunk of money leaves your life. Money doesn't just come and stay. It's like breathing. Marissa Peer talks about this. Like, you can't just give, take, and take, and take, and take, and take, and take. You have to give too. So money is a flow. It flows in and it flows out. And what I find for me that I've struggled with is the trusting of the return of the tide of money. The trusting that when it flows out, that it's going to come back. The trusting that it does return. Not because it has a mind of its own, but because I am in a place of being that's allowing it to return. And that's what I don't trust, and which really comes down to me not trusting myself. Me not trusting that I have the sustained capacity to create and receive and attract money and abundance back into my life. Because it does have that reciprocal flow. And at Abraham Hicks this weekend, you guys have heard me talking about this, and I'm going to be sharing more about that, by the way. Abraham this weekend had a guy come up on stage who was amazing. He was just amazing, and he was just like, I want to talk about money. And the whole audience erupted in laughter because everybody had been talking about meditation and all these other kind of esoteric concepts. He's like, I want to talk about money. I want to get real about money for a second. I want to talk about how every time I spend $15, he had just spent $15. I'm a middle class guy. You know, I just spent $15 to pay this valet, and you would have thought that I was destitute by the way that I responded to spending $15 on a valet. And the whole audience started laughing again, because we all get that, right? Even when we're in a place of abundance sometimes, or even if we're not, we think, oh, I spent $3, and in reality, I think almost everyone here has a roof that's over their head. Almost everyone here has the ability to put food in their mouth tomorrow. We're not as bad. It's not as bad as we think. But this guy was talking about that, and essentially, and then we had another person come up later, but essentially Abraham gave the message that even if you're in a place of not receiving money right now, you are creating simultaneously another experience that is an energetic attraction of the money that you desire. So even if you're in this experience over here, and as you're in this experience over here, your intensity and your desire to receive money is simultaneously creating a vibration that is attracting that money back into your life. And there was story after story after story of people who had been in years of lack and years of financial hardship, who had been meditating on the allowance of money into their life, maintaining a positive and attractive mindset towards money, and who then suddenly stepped into an abundance of money that they had never experienced before. Because they decided that at some point they made the decision to stop focusing on the problem of not having money and start focusing on the desire and the solution to be in the creation and allowance of it. And that really struck me because then I started to analyze my own experiences. I saw a bunch of hearts and flowers go by, so that resonated with you guys, huh? Yeah, it resonated with me too. And I started thinking about my own experiences with money, and that's totally how it's been. I mean, I came out of college and I made like $75,000 as a 22-year-old, which is a lot of money when you're 22, okay? Like more money than you know what to do with. I went from having no money to $75,000. It was like a lot, which I mostly spent on alcohol at the time, which was totally not healthy, but that's what I did. And then I moved to Atlanta and I got a huge pay increase and I got up to over $120,000. And I was like, yeah. And then my job ended up sucking. So I got another job opportunity in an ad agency and my salary got cut in half. Went down to $60,000, which was less than I'd even made when I was 22. And then I went to a consulting firm and I got a bump. And then I started my own business and I got a massive bump and then it went down. But every single time I was in a place of, any of those times, if I was in a place of feeling like money was a problem, what I realized is that like when I was broke in my business those two times, I was like, money's a problem, money's a problem, money's a problem, money's a problem. Simultaneously, I was creating all of this money. It was ready for me. It was like in a vortex, like waiting for me at the same time and amplifying intensity and expanding in amount and volume. And then next thing you know, as soon as I decided to stop going, money is a problem, to who am I being, and how is my being allowing me to receive and attract the wealth that I want in my life, and what am I doing to be in creation and allowance of that and in ease in that, trusting the return of the tide. As soon as I chose that, all of a sudden we had a massive influx of cash. And then that little niggling thought starts to come back. Well, what if we lose the money? What if I go back to how I was? Nope. That's why I do hypnosis, to keep my mind on point. RTT ladies, give me a thumbs up if you are using your own hypnosis to transform your thoughts right now about enoughness and money. If you aren't, make yourself a recording. Oh, Amy, you love Abraham. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, look at all the hearts. Yeah, girls. Yeah. I just was with Abraham for 2 days in Asheville. I also had a crazy spiritual experience the second morning there on the way into Asheville. Just another story. So that's what I've come to believe about money, and what I've come to see about money is that we have this misbelief, this myth that money goes like this, which isn't true. Money goes like this. And it's the trusting and the allowance of the ebb and the flow of money, knowing that the contrast of having and not having is part of the experience of the attraction. But as long as you are in the trust of yourself and the trust that you are a powerful creator, the trust that you are living in your intention and that you are able to be in the creation around your desire, then the money can come back. And lots of hearts and thumbs and flowers. I like the flowers. Can I see more flowers? They just make me happy. I love flowers. That's one of the things that I know when I'm at a fun. You have like, do any of you have little special ways that you want to see money in your life? I'd love to know. I'd love to know this. Okay. What are some of the things that if you were making all the money in the world right now, all the money that you wanted? First of all, I'd love to know, before we even go there, I would love to know how much money you want to be making right now. I'm curious to see like what the community's energy is around their money desires. Like, are you looking to make $100,000 a year, $50,000 a year, like $6 million a year, $100 million a year, or over your lifetime, whatever the number is? I'm curious to know like where everybody's energy is and what kind of financial goals we have in the space. 20,000 a month, says Fiorella. Awesome, sister. That's so possible with RTT. Like, I can't even tell you how possible that is. 10K a month for Mav. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to get you there really quick. Don't you worry about that. And then who else? Who else wants to share their money goal? What's your money goal right now? What are you working towards? What's that number that you're holding in your meditations and your visualizations? What's that number that you're striving towards, that you're using as the basis for pricing your services and your programs? What's that number? Go ahead and put it in the chat now. And if you're watching after the fact, please let us know so that we can kind of sense collectively. I think it would be really cool if we had like a net number our tribe wanted to hit, and if we could kind of keep track of what we were actually generating as a community. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? I like that idea. It's a safe number. I just realized that. Okay, Matt, good noticing. That's really good noticing. So what's the unsafe number? What's the number that makes you a little uncomfortable to say? What's that number that makes you go, I don't know that that's really possible? Amy says $150,000 a year. Awesome. Amazing. I do like that idea, though, of kind of figuring out how much we are collectively generating, because part of what I'm here to do is to help women own their worth, to earn their wealth, and women entrepreneurs specifically. And one of the ways we're doing that is by getting real about money and releasing the shame and the guilt that we have around it. The other thing is by getting clear around how much money we really want to generate. And then watching us create that, because the more wealth that we create collectively as a community, the more we can give back to the planet and to ourselves. And we deserve it. Like, you are worthy of also receiving the celebration of that wealth. Okay, so I'll tell you that my goal for this coming year, my personal goal, million. Hell yes, Mav. Hell yes. Look at that. You went from 10,000, that's your safe number, to a million is your unsafe. I bet you have an even bigger number than a million. I bet you do. Is there a number even bigger than that? I bet there is. I know for me, my next year goal, just the next year goal, is 1.5 million. That's what we're projecting. That's what we're shooting for, just for my business. And Ryan, we're projecting and hoping for 1 million also. So in our relationship, in our marriage, in this little collective of our household, we're looking for 2.5 million next year. And even as I say that, I'm like, like I can even feel like my sense of like, oh, that's nice about that. Like, oh, we'll see if that actually happens. I noticed that little voice in the back of my, that's nice of you to say, Jess. Like, sure, you'll make $2.5 million next year. Yeah, right. Anybody else have that voice come up when you put that number out there? Not the comfortable number, but like the scary number, the number that feels like a lot, like 2.5 feels like a lot number for me. I can totally see that. Yeah, totally. It's like, as soon as you put the number out there, there's this program that's like, who do you think you are? At least for me. Who do you think you are that you think you're worth all that, or that you can do all that, or that people will give you that? What is that all about? I'm glad I put that out there, because I need to look at that program. Anybody else have that? Give me a heart or a like. If you think about putting your money request out into the universe and setting that vibration around your desired income, and then you also simultaneously hear a voice in your head that says, oh yeah, you think so? I don't know. We'll have to see about that. You'll get lucky. Maybe if you're lucky. Yeah, I'm seeing a couple of hearts. I'm working to change that, though. Anybody else working to change that? Yeah. So we do a lot of hiding, and we do a lot of shaming ourselves. That was a shameful story that I just told, and not enough story to myself about money. And the reality is that money is just energy. It's just a way of measuring the contribution that you've made, ultimately. I mean, measuring, not the right word. Money is an energetic response to the contribution that you make. I think that's more how Abraham would say it. I don't know, Amy, you can tell me. You're an Abraham fan. Is that kind of more like what Abraham would say? I like the way Abraham talks about money. If you guys haven't watched Abraham Hicks and listened to Abraham Hicks, whether you believe in channeling and like all of that stuff or not, it doesn't really matter. My whole thing, when people ask me, like, do you believe in channels? Do you believe in all of that? Well, look, my feeling is like, does the message resonate with you? Does it hit home with you? Yes or no? If it hits home with you, then it's good and it's valid. If it doesn't hit home with you, then move on. Whether you believe it's from an alien channel or your dog talking, it doesn't matter. As long as it's hitting with you and it's connecting with you, then go to there. Fiorella says, do you do a financial plan on 1.5 million? We do revenue projections mostly. And then we also look at our financial allocations in terms of expenses. So we kind of map out what are some of the things that we want to set budget aside for in the next year and how much we plan to spend on things like marketing and advertising. And to be honest, like we're kind of new to all of that too. So that's a new process for us. Like, how do we actually do the financial plan? I feel like we're sort of like feeling our way through that. And it's a bit of like shooting by the hip at the moment. We're kind of just choosing to basically every bit of money that comes in right now is either being reallocated back into the business for growth, back into the investment of our amazing team members, continuing to incentivize them or to bring on new people. And then I think the last thing would be in our personal growth and development. Ryan and I spend a lot of money on our personal growth. I think this year alone, probably upwards of $50,000 or $60,000 between the two of us, maybe more, on personal growth. That includes the investment on coaches, masterminds, training, events and conferences. Like we're going to Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny. That's like a $12,000, almost well, it'll be like $10,000 because we got a discount on the tickets. By the way, if anybody here ever wants to go to Tony Robbins, let me know. I have a guy who can hook you up, give you special deals. Yes, it's just energy. Thank you, Amy. I'm still learning the language of Abraham. So yeah, I don't know if I really answered your question, Fiorella, about the financial planning. As you can tell, I'm not really clear on it myself. I'm still just kind of figuring it out. I'd love to know if anybody else in the tribe who has $1 million business. We have several people, just so you know, who are in this community who have multi-million-dollar businesses. And so if you're watching this and you have any advice on financial planning for that, please tell us what you know, because we would love to hear from you, because you've already been there. Another thing that I want to say, speaking of those people who have $1 million businesses, a lot of my clients are millionaires and have, multi-six figure businesses. And what's fascinating to me is to hear how those people, when you get them behind closed doors, are still struggling with money. A lot of them. And it's a different kind of thing, though. It's more like a fear of losing it and not being able to continue to sustain the team and the machine that they've built. Like they have this machine now and they're like, oh my God, if we don't make this next launch a success, then I can't make payroll. And it's a different kind of pressure. But they still have it. And even if they're making millions of dollars, they also are still struggling with feeling not enough, as though they don't deserve the money that they've created. So somehow they've tricked people into giving it to them, that people not really understand who they were, because if they did, then they never would have given them the money before. Can anybody relate to that one? Like that feeling of like you're fake and that people don't really know who you are, and so part of you doesn't want to ask for what you're worth because you feel like you're not really worth that, like this feeling of, oh, I'm pulling the wool over their eyes kind of a thing. Fiorella says, have a friend who needs to make $100,000 a year before, have a friend who needs to make $100,000 a year before she can spend any money. That's interesting. I want to know, what does she say about that? Like, why that number? And what do you mean before? And what does she mean by before she can spend any money? Is she paying down debt? Is she just keeping it all? Like, why is she keeping it all? Is that coming from a desire or fear? I'm curious. I have curiosity about that one, Fiorella. Maybe you can tell us what your friend is all about. But for us, the one thing that stays constant, no matter where we are in our financial situation, is we always, aside from making sure we have money to put food in our mouths and a roof over our heads, the next thing that always remains constant for us is the investment in personal growth. Doesn't matter. When we were in Spain, I had to change my relationship slightly with my coach so that I could even pay for him at all. But I was still spending more than 50% of our earnings on him because I knew that if I was ever going to get out of where I was, that I needed someone to help me move through the thoughts and the stories that I was holding on to so that I could make a change. And it's easy in those times to let those kinds of decisions, those kinds of investments go. But I can tell you from my experience that doubling down or continuing that investment, it will be the best decision you ever made. Because when you do that, when you can continue to invest in yourself, even when you feel like money is tight and you're having an I can't afford it story, you prove to yourself right then and there that you can afford it and that you will give yourself a reason to find the money and to create the money. You will give yourself a reason to push through the fear, to push past the uncomfortableness, to move through whatever block is in your way, to step into your courage. You will give yourself a reason to do it because you know that that coaching or that investment is worth every fucking dollar that you paid, and it incentivizes you at another level. For me, that's what it did for me. So that's my invitation to you. And plus, like, you know, if you're selling transformation, you want to walk the talk. So if you're not investing in your own growth, then it feels like you're out of alignment with a request to have somebody invest in you. If you're not investing in your own growth and more than you're comfortable, then how could you feel good about asking someone else who has a money block to move through that block to invest in your services? Because you're not doing it yourself. So when they tell you, oh, I can't afford it, you actually end up like agreeing with them and allowing them off the hook when you know that your transformational service can really change them, or you know your product can really change them. And so when you make that decision to invest in yourself that way, it allows you to step into the process of creation because you're actively choosing to let go of your bullshit money story. So that's kind of a tangent that I just went on about money. So I'd love to know more from you. I want to hear your voices. Any other thoughts that you have about what is happening with money in your life? We talked about what you want to earn. Here's what we're going to say. We talked about what you want to earn. We got some great stuff. Yeah, Fira's, mortgage debt. See? So yeah, she's choosing to spend her money, right? But she's choosing to spend it on something specific, which is paying down her mortgage. Just like my husband and I are choosing to spend it on specific things, or those three things. It's always those three things. So maybe it's choosing not to spend it on things like vacations or clothes. So now that we know what everybody, which leads us nicely to, now that we know what everybody wants to make, what do you want to use your money for? So if you made $100,000, $150,000 next year, Amy, if Fiorella, you were making, how much did you say? How much did you say you wanted to make? I can't remember. Oh, $20,000 a month. If Mav, you were making $1 million next year. Oh, Amy, you want to go see Tony? All right, girl, I got you. You message me. I've got a couple different things that I can offer you to help you with UPW or Date with Destiny. So you just let me know. But if you were to make that $100,000, $150,000, $10,000 a month, $20,000 a month, $1.5 million a year, what is it that you want to use that money towards? So let's share that with each other. Let's talk about how you want to reinvest in your life with that money and that energy. How do you energetically want to use that money? What is the intention behind that money? Put it in the chat now. Let us see what kind of things we're calling in, because here's the other thing. When we share around how we intend to use the money that we create, when we move through our scarcity mindsets, when we release that block, we want to be able to celebrate with each other. When we can say, look, remember I said that I wanted to spend 3 weeks in Bali? Look, I did it. Or remember when I said that I wanted to spend money to go to Date with Destiny? Look, I did it. Like, we want to be able to celebrate with each other. So what is it that you would like to reinvest in yourself and in your life with that energetic response in the form of money? Put that in the chat now. Let me know. Let me see what it is that you are choosing to reinvest in. So for me, one of the things that I want to invest in, and by the way, I have a process that I go through in the Worth to Wealth program that we are opening enrollment for at the end of this year or the beginning of January, in which you decide and you define your yes board, which are essentially your incentives, the things that you are choosing to say yes to in the year for being in your creation. They're essentially like the things that the experiences that you want to create for yourself that excite you into and inspire you to be in action. So, for example, on my yes board last year, I had that I wanted to go to Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins for 2017, and I'm making that happen. But I can tell you that there were multiple times over the year that I did not think that was going to happen. I was like, how the hell am I going to get to Tony Robbins' Date with Destiny when I have negative $700 in my bank account today? And now, well, here I am. I'm going. So it's possible. I know for me, what I'm looking for, a great big trip. Mav, where do you want a great big trip to? I'd love to know. For me, what I would like to do next year is invest in a couple of things. One, I'm looking for some kind of group coaching experience, mastermind kind of thing that I think I'd like to invest in. I don't know how much that will be, but I know I want to say yes to that. I know I also want to say yes to getting an NLP training and certification. I really love the subconscious mind, and that's just another tool that I'm really geeked out on. So I want to invest in that kind of a training too. I also know that next year I want to invest to go to Santorini, Greece, without having to do anything. I just want to go to Santorini and stay in one of those cave houses that has a little pool that is attached to it, that is kind of on the edge of that cliff, that's like all white, and drink champagne and I don't know, eat whatever Grecian food is with my husband naked on a balcony. That's like what I have a vision of. Or maybe like naked with like a pair of really big sunglasses and a cool like straw hat. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm seeing. So I really want to go to Santorini. And I don't want to work while I'm there. That's the other thing. I want 2 full weeks in Santorini, in the oceans there, without opening my laptop. Totally unplugged. Just be with my husband. That's what I'm holding. Oh, yes, you too. Greece, Ibiza, Barcelona. Yeah, Fiorella, those are amazing. I was in Ibiza and Barcelona this past summer, and they're both incredible. I love them. And if you go to Ibiza, you have to go to Formentera, which is actually like a 30-minute hydroplane kind of boat ride off of the island of Ibiza, and it's beautiful. You maybe probably already even know it, but I liked that even more than Ibiza. Fiorella says that live my life between France and Perth, and I may want to be in France, then travel to Spain on holiday around Europe. I also want to attend the Lifebook program. Yeah, I hear great things about the Lifebook program. That would be amazing. And Amy says, invest into another business coach and always fly first class. I love that one. Oh, I might have to take that one or join you. I won't take it. I'll join you in the first class vision. I like that. Gosh, that's a good one. I love how specific that is. Because it's not just about traveling, but it's traveling luxuriously. I like that. I like luxury. Does anybody else here like luxury? I know sometimes we, oh, Christina, hi, sister. It's good to see you here. Yes, Greece, and then a dream is your dream trip too. Yeah, I just have this thing about Greece and Santorini. I don't know what it is, but I have a vision for being there, and it excites me. So that's something that I know I want to incentivize myself with. So that also is a money desire that I have. So that's cool that some people have those cool desires. And I love the idea of living your life around, Lisbon, Portugal. Also, Lifebook program, sorry, that just said Lisbon, Portugal. So yeah, for those of you who are just joining now, we've been talking tonight about money and getting real about money. And we've been having a conversation around our shame and our guilt, and we've been clearing around some of the things that we've been holding on to around money in our lives. We've also been talking about what our money goals are. and we've been talking about what it is that we want to create in our business. I've been sharing some stories about my experience with money, and we've been talking as well about some of the myths that we've been sold as entrepreneurs around money. And now we're in a place where we're having a conversation around our money incentives. And if we are in the creation around our desires, and that is returned to us energetically in the form of money, which it will be, because we are all deserving and worthy of that, then how do we want to invest back into our lives? So we've had some beautiful sharing so far. It seems like we've got a Greece thing happening, by the way. Maybe there's a retreat opportunity in Greece for all of us. Anybody want to go to Santorini and do some really amazing heart-opening work? Yeah, maybe we can make that happen. So there's Greece. Travel seems to be a theme here. I'm also hearing a theme around investment in personal growth, business coaching, life coaching, which is amazing. Happy to hear that. Is this a closed group? Yes, Renee, this is a closed group. People can only join if they are approved. It is not a public group. So this is a confidential space for you. Confidential as in you and the rest of the tribe. So use your own guidance as to what you feel comfortable sharing here. Group trip. Yeah. Awesome. Christina, love it. Yeah. I'm so happy you're happy about that. And actually I'm going to be doing a trip this coming year as either part of a program that a group program that I'm launching, or maybe just a separate retreat. I haven't really sat into it yet, where we do a hike down the Camino de Santiago in Spain. It'll be a 5 or 6 day hike, which is a transformational journey. So we will literally be hiking the Camino as well as doing deep transformational work along the way. And it's kind of a metaphor for transformation. If you don't know what the Camino de Santiago is, look it up. But that's something that I've been holding to. So yeah, if you have something else to share around your beliefs around money, whether good or bad, feel free to add them to the space now. But it feels to me like we're starting to come to a place that we might be complete. We've covered a lot of ground. We've talked about the myth of money, how money doesn't go like this, how money actually goes like this. We've talked about some of our fears around money, fear of not having enough. We've talked about the fear and the beliefs that we've had around money, beliefs that money is essential, beliefs that money can make us, money can hurt us, or that money is evil. Some of those beliefs come forward too. Renee says, in that case, I want to build my dream home with a pool that is fabulous. I want to do retreats as well. Charging friends for sessions. Thanks, Fiorella, for the reminder. And Christina says, yes, all about reinvesting in myself, my future, my tribe, and influencing the world driven by love. Yes. I like that. That really hits. Thank you, Renee, for sharing that. And I can't wait. You got to share some pictures of what you want your dream home to look like. Ryan and I are holding our intention to build a transformational retreat home and maybe like co-living community that will be in either California or maybe Colorado. We're not sure. I'm also kind of pushing for Asheville, North Carolina, but he's not 100% on board with that, but I think I can get him to crack. And actually on my vision board, which is another thing that we create in the Worth to Wealth program, but I have, I'll show you guys. Do you guys want to see my vision board sometime? I can give you a tour of my vision board. I'd love to, if anybody wants to see that, give me a thumb or a like. I can actually share that with you. I have a video that I created of it, but I can give you a tour of my vision board. I think we should all share our visions together, don't you? So we can hold each other and we can hold each other in the achievement of that vision and help each other see opportunities to be in that vision. Because if we all know what everybody else is striving towards and what everybody else is desiring towards, then we can more easily call it in for each other. And when I see an opportunity for your vision to come to life, I can say, oh, Fiorella, I remember you saying that you really wanted this, and I know somebody who can give you that, or that this person is looking for something similar and you guys can co-create that. I don't know. So I got a lot of hearts and flowers on that one, so I think that was a yes. Yes, and yes. Charging friends for sessions, Fiorella. I'd love to hear what other people have to say about this too, but I have actually hired and worked with a significant number of my friends, like a lot. And also, a lot of my clients end up becoming my friends. Some people that I know have a very strong opinion about working with friends, and they think that you should never do it. And I mean, that's their bag. I don't agree. I work with friends all the time. Like, actually, one of my best friends became my client last year, and we helped her completely let go of an old business model that wasn't serving her, and reinvent herself and realign with her goals and her desires. And as a result, she ended up changing and pivoting her business completely, and went from being in the red to, or what is that, being in the red to being in the black in her business and making a profit. And she's so aligned and so happy now. And so, and I have lots of other people that I have had proposal conversations with, who have been in my friends circle and who decided they wanted a coach or they wanted to do RTT. And the way that I work on that is that I treat them like everybody else. I let them know that when we are in this space of coaching and transformational therapy, or whatever it is that I'm offering them, I'm going to treat you like every other client. And I would expect, or I desire, for you to be in the space of a relationship in which you also are looking at me as your coach or your therapist. And I'm very upfront that I will treat them exactly the same way as I treat everybody else. And if they're a really close friend, I may have a conversation with them around, and like a clearing conversation around some of our fears about how it may or may not impact our relationship, and what we would be willing to do or not do in the service of our relationship, and what is the greater priority for the two of us, and how we want to be in that. And I did have that conversation with a couple of clients, or friends who became clients, and it was really helpful for us just to kind of set that groundwork and make that commitment to each other. But I charge my friends the same thing that I charge everybody else. I don't charge them any less. I charge them exactly the same stuff as everybody else. And I made that price the price that I made it, because I know that's what the service is worth. Not necessarily what I'm worth, because sometimes I don't think I'm worth anything, but what the service is worth. I knew that rapid transformational therapy and coaching, rapid transformational coaching, which is what I do, is worth $2,000 a month. It's worth it. So that's what I charge. And I don't care if you know me already or not. That's the price of the service. So I have done that exclusively and very successfully. In fact, over the past 3 years, the only way that I've gotten clients is through my personal network, through people that I know, or those people that they know, through networking events and workshops, and inviting people into my communities that I've built. But it's all been people that I've either been friends with or had a friend in common with. So my invitation to you is, charge your friends and tell them up front, like, I know that we're friends, and when we enter, as soon as we start to enter into conversation about this work together, I'm going to treat you like any other client, like any other. And that goes for the investment as well as the experience of working with me. So how I show up with you in this relationship will feel different than the way that it might feel if we are hanging out on the couch with a glass of wine. And in fact, this weekend, I actually was at Abraham Hicks with a client of mine for 2 full days and 2 nights. And we stayed in this spiritual retreat center and home that I am friends with the owners of, and they're amazing people. And she was actually telling me this weekend how she can feel the difference between when we are in a coaching conversation and when we're in a different kind of conversation. We're like more friend level. And I will literally tell her, you know, now we're in a coaching discussion and a coaching dialogue, and I will physically, even to her, she said, feel different. And I am friends with her. We are coaching together, and through that we have developed a friendship. And so this weekend, you know, there were times where I was open and honest with her about the stuff that was coming up in my life. And I'm like that anyway, because I'm not perfect, and I never want my clients to think that. I never want anybody to think I'm perfect, because I'm fucking not. And if we all walk around thinking that we're perfect, or trying to pretend like we're perfect around money, around our worthiness, around whatever, then we start to look at ourselves and think there's something wrong with us. So I have no problem showing my clients, being friends with my clients. I have no problem being vulnerable with my clients. And I use that as an opportunity to show them that they can do that too in their own lives. And so Abraham Hicks says to lead through the clarity of your example. And for me, that's one of the ways that I do that, is by just being real about what I am and what I'm not. so that other people feel they can do the same, or where I am and where I'm not. So Renee says, oh yeah. So did that answer your question, Fiorella, my dear? That's my opinion, okay? That's my perspective. That's how I've done it. That's my belief. Maybe somebody here has a different belief, and if you do, by all means, say what's worked for you in that regard. Happy to have a healthy discussion around that, because I think that is something that's present for some people. I see hearts from you. Okay, cool. So you feel good about that. Good. I'm glad I answered that for you. All right, ladies. It is 9:06. We have done it again. A full hour of discussion. And it was so fun. It was fun for me. Was it fun for you? Did you enjoy it? Did you like this conversation? Was it helpful to you? If you can give me some thumbs and some hearts and some flowers, because you know I like the flowers. I think I might make a flower rule. I really like the flowers. Give me hearts, give me flowers, give me thumbs, give me smileys, whatever it is you feel called to do, to let me know if this conversation resonated with you, to let me know if this is more of what you want. Is this what you want? Are you liking this kind of dialogue? Okay, I'm seeing lots of hearts and thumbs ups. Okay, cool, yay. I'm happy to hear that. So thank you all so much for being here. Tomorrow night, we have our last one. It's kind of sad that it's already our last one. I'm sad. But I will be in LA for our last one. Flying to LA tomorrow morning. And then Wednesday, it's my birthday. It's my birthday, y'all, which, by the way, is one of the other reasons why we're doing this, because this is my birthday gift to you. Because you guys have all shown up here in this tribe to be part of this conversation, and I'm so appreciative of that. So this is me giving back to you. So on tomorrow morning, I fly out back to what I feel like is my homeland of Los Angeles and to California, West Coast vibes. And we will be doing our session again. And tomorrow is all about desire, which is a really nice place from where we left off today, which is about some of our financial manifestations and the way we want that to manifest. But tomorrow we're going to be talking about our desires. We're going to be getting real about what we really want and sharing our visions with each other, sharing our intentions with each other, and owning that desire, and maybe even talking about what could be blocking us from that desire, or what is allowing us to be in that desire, and how we can be in more allowance of that desire. So that seems pretty well timed, considering it's my birthday, and I'm hoping that my husband has a gift for me. Ryan, did you hear that? What are you going to get me? Hashtag spa day. Spa day. No, you hear that? Spa day. All right. So tomorrow we talk about desire. So thank you all so much for being here again. It just puts me in my highest joy and my highest excitement to have these conversations with you. And you guys are so fucking cool. Really, 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 you are. And I'm so grateful for all of you. So thank you so much. And I will see you all tomorrow. And well, parting gift. I want you to meet Dazzle. This is Dazzle. Do you see Dazzle? If this doesn't brighten your day and put you in the right mood for being in desire tomorrow, nothing can make you love life more than a bright blue, giant unicorn. You're a unicorn. You are a unicorn. And your other unicorns are here with you, my sisters. Love you, and I'll see you tomorrow.